and just wanted to let you all know that the speaking of competitions, the theme competition is open, and that theme is desert. And so enter. I mean, does the desert mean to you? It could be the tram with snow up there. So anything you want, just enter it. And our end of the year banquet judging is going well. And I think that's all I have there. So let me share my screen and we can go from there. Okay, do you see PSA Photo Festival 2025?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Well, the festival was held in Portland, Oregon, September 24th through the 27th. And I'm sorry, I got too many fingers going. This is a picture of the Japanese gardens, which was one of the tours. And unfortunately, this one wasn't handicap accessible, so a friend of mine took the picture for me. The agenda: photo tours, opening ceremony, meetings, print gallery, speakers, honors banquet, the receptions, PSA benefits, S4C, competitions and definitions. Photo tours. Multnomah Falls, that was the only waterfall we were able to visit, but we spent 3 hours there. And then Japanese gardens, the Rose Garden, Pittock Mansion, Cannon Beach, and Tillicum Bridge. The Japanese Garden, Rose Garden, and Pittock Mansion and Tillicum Bridge were all a little handicap unfriendly, so I did not go. But from what I heard, there were some great views. And if you remember, one of the whites a couple of years ago, his image in black and white of a bridge won Best in Show, and that was the bridge. Multnomah Falls, no climbing involved. The falls, you could see the falls coming up from the road. And then what we were able to do is we spent a few hours here, and I took the time to do some soft focus long exposures with neutral density filters. Of course, I'm always making friends, and that's the great part about these festivals is you make friends and you make friends for life, and there's more to that friend story coming up. Cannon Beach. This was the other adventure I went on. That is Haystack Rock, which you've seen, I'm sure. If you've seen pictures of the coast in Oregon, you've seen this rock. I don't know how I got so lucky, but I didn't take anyone else out of that picture. I have one person and a dog in that picture, so I got kind of lucky there. And this was actually, it was a sunset shoot that we were there for. And the sunset with the birds, I intentionally made them fly into my picture.
Mhm.
And then this was one of the photographers that decided to set up his camera for sunset right in front of me. But that was all good. He did move on. It's just it's enjoyable to see that we were able to get out, this close to the ocean and have a great sunset shoot. And you know me, there's always an adventure when I go somewhere. So I want to show you the chair and me tooling around on the beach. Okay, I'm ready. Hey, I'm on the beach. Watch this. All right. I can do roadies.
I'm getting dizzy.
Me too. He wasn't a videographer. There's always a story or an adventure I get into when I go out with anyone. This time was no exception. This was on Cannon Beach. It started with the seagull. I was not stalking the seagull. I was not chasing the seagull. I was following the seagull to see where he was going to go. Well, he did get to the edge of the water and then he flew away. So I decided, well, I'll turn around and I'll see what else I can take pictures of. Well, then people who know me know that I have an affinity for sea stars. As you can see, these are some people, at a tide pool. And what do you see at tide pools? Sea stars. So I'm taking the pictures, and then all of a sudden, this little wave comes in, and I panic. And so I decide to jam the thing in reverse. Thus, the adventure begins, and I got severely stuck. So, that friend who was also a fellow photographer, he was the one who helped me get unstuck. So, like I said, there's always an adventure. Who wants to come to Vegas with me and enjoy those adventures? That's where PSA is next year. And then this is the opening ceremony. The rose this year, that's what Sharon is putting in the flowers. It's a white rose to remember members who had passed the previous year. And as we all know, we did lose Gary Vandermark. So this was kind of very special to me this year. And during the opening ceremonies, they also do some awards, they do a welcome, and they give certain recognitions. And then you have the division meetings, and that's always filled with food. And this is where we have a chapter meeting, which, you find out what's going on across the country with other chapters. The projected image division, um, the nature division, the photojournalism division, the travel division, the print division, and the 3D division, which is actually an interesting division if nobody's seen 3D photography and the cameras. I will try if somebody's interested to get that type speaker who's familiar with this stuff in. It's just kind of neat seeing the pictures. And there was a print gallery this year, and one of the benefits to being in PSA is to be able to join the print of the quarter, which is where you print off an image of yours, and it gets critiqued not only on the picture but on the print. And if you get an award or whatever for the quarter, it'll be displayed in the print gallery at the next convention. There was also daily workshops and lectures. There was a fine art photography's workflow that was more about how to get your artwork into two places to sell. Lightroom Classic, I'm not familiar with that, so I did not attend it. Photography off the wall. This is one of those you take, most people when they print, they hang their photos on the wall. This was more about, well, you can make a book, you can make a calendar, you can do a lot of other things than just print and hang it on the wall. Telling a story was about this guy's journey into travel photography and what you need to look for when you are taking pictures of, faraway places and people. The Magic Dance Workshop, every year, PSA does have excuse me a moment, does have a workshop where they bring in models and you can take pictures of them. And this year they brought a dance troupe in, and you were able to, they gave you a little bit of instruction, and you were able to take the images, and then, they would go into a different pose. So that was unique. And then there was light paintings of autos, not ATOs. Sorry about that. And then reveal your rainbow. That's where you print a picture, but you print it as an outline and then you paint it. And then next year, 2026 is in Las Vegas, baby. And that'll be the 13th to the 19th. And they're actually going to have, because it'll be hot during that time, there's going to do a lot more hands-on things like food photography, going behind a couple of the setups. They might even do some portrait photography at one of the bridal chapels. And then there will be a special evening event of the Neon Museum, which it usually closes at dusk, but it'll be a 1 hour led tour in the evening to take pictures of the neon signs, the Neon Museum. Okay, a little bit about our composition and where we fit in as a club to the chapters and the councils. Our our council is S4C, and that's Southern California Council of Camera Clubs. And then there's also from there it goes to chapters. And a chapter, it basically any PSA person as a single can join it. And the Southern California Council of a Camera Club, you don't have to be a member of PSA. You just have to be a member of a PSA club. And they offer, monthly, every other month competitions. And so you can get actually a second opinion on some of your images, or, if you want to test the water there first, or if you just want to, enter totally different pictures and see what results you get. And as I said, it's a council of camera clubs. We have the Coachella Valley Desert Camera Club, Duarte, Ensenada, Fullerton, Indio, Laguna Hills, Lancaster, Mission Viejo, North Hollywood, Palm Desert, Redlands, and Riverside, plus Santa Barbara and Sierra Madre, Thousand Oaks, and Ventura. Now they actually have pictorial color, monochrome, nature, general and wildlife, and photojournalism, general and human interest. Let's get to some of the definitions, because I do know that, at least for me, when I was first entering contests, or even now sometimes, I'm kind of going, where do I want to put that? Well, these are updated definitions taken from the PSA site, and as a PSA member club, we do follow their definitions. Pictorial color, it's unrestricted, although you can't use, when they say you can't use AI, it's basically you can't do a prompt to add to your picture. But if you're doing, you can clone out stuff in color and monochrome. You can add stuff if it's from something you took as a picture. You can sharpen, you can, use the remove tool. You can use the AI tools. You just cannot use anything that requires a prompt or uses other pixels other than your own. So if you're like in Photoshop and you're editing a picture and they now say may use generative AI, you want to click that off. That way, the only things that they're using is the pixel in your own image. And then monochrome is, it's only gives the impression of having no color. Shades of gray, pure black, or pure white. You can also have one that is sepia, shades of red. Anything that has spot color in it would be considered a color image. For example, and Mitch put it in the right category, his Joshua trees that he entered last month, or in December, sorry. Nature division. This is it's actually become a little easier this year to follow. I have noticed that the nature and any of the reality divisions, we don't have a lot of participation, and I'm hoping to clear up some things with that. Nature photography records all branches of natural history except anthropology and archaeology. This includes all aspects of the physical world, both overwater and underwater. Nature images must convey the truth of a scene. A well-informed person should be able to identify the subject of the image and be satisfied that it has been presented honestly and that no unethical practices have been used to control the subject or capture the image. Images that directly or indirectly show any human activity threatening a living organism, life, or welfare are not allowed. So basically, to recap that, if you were to feed a mouse to a snake, you couldn't photograph that, even though it's the circle of life, but you intentionally fed the snake, which is you harmed another living creature on purpose just to get the photograph. The most important part of a nature image is the nature story it tells. High technical standards are expected, and the image must look natural. Objects created by humans and evidence of human activity are allowed in nature images only when they are a necessary part of the nature story. For example, when you go down to the Salton Sea and you want to take a picture of a burrowing owl, and you know how they nest in those tires. That was not allowed before in nature. It is now. Um, I just repeated the that first part of that. Sorry. Photographs of human created hybrid plants, cultivated plants, feral animals, domesticated animals, human created hybrid animals, mounted or preserved zoological specimens are not allowed. So you still cannot enter horses, zebras. No, zebras you can, I'm sorry. But horses, donkeys, um, feral animals like cats, they frown on, pigs. So anything that's not really considered nature in that respect. Although, if you have pigs or stuff in a zoo, you can take those pictures. And these are in yellow. These are the things that have changed. You need to maintain situations such as provided supplemental food due to hardship caused by weather condition. So, like in the winter or in the rainy season, when the birds are having a hard time, finding food, you can now take pictures of birds eating at bird feeders. You you also like footprints if they're like a footprint in there that you can't get away, that's acceptable now. Or, a bird on a fence post, that's acceptable. Scientific tag collars, like some of the bighorn sheep, you catch them with their collars, that's allowed now. And when you're photographing at a zoo, sanctuary, or rehab center, it would be construed that the photographer ensured that it's properly accredited and conforms to best practices, i.e., the Living Desert, the San Diego Zoo. Any questions on those?
So nature, it's not just wildlife. Is that right?
Well, for us, no, it's not because we just have the nature general.
Mhm.
If you were to enter a PSA competition that separated between nature division and the nature wildlife, you wouldn't be able to take a picture of an animal in a zoo. They wouldn't be able to have their tags or collars or bands on them, and there would be no human element permitted, so you couldn't do that.
Well, I consider rocks and trees and plants to be part of nature. Are they thinking
Yes.
just wildlife when they think of nature?
No,
Okay.
nature is rocks and trees, but if you were to enter anything in wildlife,
Okay.
you wouldn't be able to enter a landscape in
Right.
wildlife.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thanks.
Okay. Oh, come on. Hold on just a sec. I've got two displays growing, and my mouse is the wrong mouse. Sorry. Education opportunities with PSA. You can actually send some of your images in and get an image evaluation. It's kind of like your own personal critique. And I have tried it, and it's really interesting because the feedback you get is positive. And if you make the changes, I feel, at least in my case, my image was much better. Then there's online courses, history of photography, digital photography, portrait photography, webinars on travel, on workflow, on color, on printing. And all you have to do as a member of PSA is on the website, which I'll show you in a few minutes when I transfer screens. On the website, you just click on education and you click request webinars. You get sent a password and you have a month to watch them. They have study groups where you can do 4 images in a group, and you have 2 months to review. Then there's digital dialogue, which each division has a subject specific group. And then you have mentors. A couple of the mentors is black and white photography. They'll walk you through it. They'll basically have you take images, submit them back to them, they'll tell you where you can improve, what you're doing wrong, what you're doing right. And then this has been something that they've added within the last year. They've really gotten on discounts for members. There's Delkin devices I'm not familiar with. I am familiar with um, Use Photo Pro. They'll basically they'll assess your photo equipment and buy it, or you can trade for them. Life Pixels. I don't know if anyone's interested in infrared conversions. And then Atlas Packs, they're camera backpacks. Red River Paper, you get a 10% discount on all your paper. I mean, if you print, that's good. And then software, Luminar Neo and Capture One Pro. And these there are more discounts added all the time. Then you have the journal, which it's published monthly. There's articles written by experts, how-tos, travels, feature artists, and this is a member benefit of the PSA. And this is the fees. And any more questions?
I tried to log on and was having difficulty to renew. Do they have a contact button?
Yes, and actually what I will do is I will send your information to Sable, and she'll send you a direct link. Okay.
Oh, that'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to take advantage of those image evaluations.
And the other thing, well, you also did, I think that first year you entered some of the landscape or architecture. Yeah, the landscape
Yeah, I did.
contest.
Yeah, I entered 2 rounds.
Yeah.
There's people from around the world with
Yeah.
800 millimeter lenses. It's hard to compete, but I saw a lot of great photography. Got some good ideas.
Yeah. So, but there is one thing, and as a club, we can do it, and you don't have to be a PSA member to experience this. The competition and stuff is closed for this year. They're not accepting, sorry, new members. I think they start up again in April, but it's called an inter-club competition. That's where somebody from our club would go through and they would, pick like 6 images per category of like the cream of the crop. And then those images we compete as a club would go up against clubs throughout the country. And it's really kind of cool to see how our club and our members would place against other members in different clubs.
Obviously, are there certain criteria for the types of images that are put in or that are laid out ahead of time, or is it just whatever the club comes up with?
It's the same 6 categories. So it's photojournalism,
Mhm.
it's nature, it's PID, it's monochrome. So,
Okay.
So are we going back to the more categories in our club?
well, right now, if you have noticed, we did add the photojournalism at the end of the year. We have decided as a board that we are going to keep the photojournalism, at least this year, to see how it goes. Um, so it's like we're hoping eventually to get back up again to 6 categories because that's what we can have. But right now, as you do know, Gary had passed away, and Deb, Deb Law, who has stepped up, Craig has stepped up, the whole board has stepped up. Um, and, I stepped up. We've taken on the competition chair, and it's a learning circle, I will say that. And but right now we have the 4 categories.
Let me just say one thing, Darcy, here, since we have Brian here. Hello, Brian. How you doing, buddy?
Hi, Brian.
Hey, sorry, I just renewed my membership today. I've been a guest.
Yay!
Hey,
I became a
good.
guest for a bit.
Yeah, I just want to say, Darcy and I have had conversations about this. That she's been working with Deb on the competitions, and I've been doing membership and website
Website.
and what else? Something else too. I can't remember. Um, we have kind of come to a realization of just how much Gary did for the club to carry the club. I mean, it's a phenomenal amount of work when you look at what he was dealing with the old system. That kind of Rube Goldberg sort of system that was kind of put together over the years. I mean, he really carried the club for a long time. So you know, we appreciate it. We appreciate it so much. And if you tell Bev that, that would be great.
Thanks, yeah. And I'm just glad that he got everyone off that old system while he was still around. It would have been worse if he didn't. So,
Yeah, he tried to get me on it, and I went through it, and I went, "Oh my God, oh no, 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 no! This is like way over my head. I'm not that much of a well, computer guy, so
yeah, I didn't have a lot of time to take pictures, but um,
yeah, yeah,
um, I want to keep taking pictures.
Yes,
yeah.
please.
Good, good.
And we want you to enter pictures too.
I will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Brian, for coming.
Yeah. Well, Darcy, thank you for putting that all together. And very nice from your travels up in Oregon and then the Portland festival up there, the PSA Festival and all that. It's very helpful to have. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording, but the recording will be put up on the website for anybody who wants to come back and take a look and look at those PSA requirements again. So I'm going to go ahead and stop it right now. Here we go.